hello, my friends, and welcome back to the Lost Art Project. Veterans Voices. Man, oh man, we're going to have a great story for you today. I'm looking forward to it. But if you are enjoying these podcasts, make sure you go hit up the website. That's the Lost Art Project, veteransvoices.org. Go check us out, see what we're all about. We are a new nonprofit, so if there's any way you can help us out, it'd be much appreciated. Big shout out to the Till Valhalla Project out there doing amazing things. If you don't know anything about them, go check them out. Even if you do, check them out again. I say it every time, man. They really are an amazing organization. You can find them at tillvalhallaproject.com. Are you a Marine veteran? Are you missing that bond you had on active duty? Then I have a place for you. Join the only congressionally chartered Marine Corps Veteran Service Organization, the Marine Corps League. Get that brother and sisterhood back in your life. Become one of the fewer, the prouder, a Marine Corps League member. All right, here we are, man alive. I'm excited. Why am I excited? Because John is back. And John, you have been telling some amazing stories. I absolutely love them. So I can't wait because today is special. Special. So it should be a good time. So how you doing, John?
Hey, man, doing great. Today should be an easy conversation. You and I have a lot in common. We're both 8511s, the original MOS for Marine Corps Drill Instructor. Until somebody had a bright idea, let's make it 9911. So all of us old Marines feel disenfranchised whenever we talk to a young Marine. Hey, what was your MOS? You name off a few of them, 8511. Well, what's that? Drill Instructor. Now they think you're a poser, that it's stolen valor. And,
yeah, that's true.
Them that things are different in the Corps, and they find something that's working really good, and some officer gets involved and makes a decision that changes it all.
Yeah. Yeah, I say blame the officers for everything. That's what I say. So
I'll be blaming one of them later on here. So,
well, shoot. Yeah, go ahead.
We finished off on the aviation time, whereas our first 6 years in the Marine Corps as a aviation mechanic, and 1.5 of those years as a generalist driver for the 3rd Marine Air Wing. But as a recruit, I probably had the same thoughts and fantasies. Could I be a drill instructor?
Right.
Looks like such a cool job. Their uniforms always look immaculate. Not realize how much effort goes into making that reality. And
that's true.
And all the things that are not in the brochure. Because as a young Lance Corporal in the Marine Corps, I was walking by the career jammers office. Some people call them career planners. We call them career jammers. And you talk to them about your career, and they help you make decisions that typically aren't in your best interest. But I didn't talk to him. I just simply took an object from his rack outside, and his Marine Corps drill instructor in his Charlie uniform, service Charlie uniform, campaign cover, platoon of recruits. That was on the inside photo. The cover, though, that really captured me was at San Diego, where they got drill instructor school on the arch. There's 3 drill instructors, all big, strapping young men, much taller and much more muscular than I was. I was 140 pounds. They were about 200 plus and all muscle.
Yeah.
So their Charlies were fitting really tight, and I thought, maybe someday. So I always had that, and it'd be stuck somewhere, but I would occasionally come across it. And then at this point, I had just coming up on the 6th year of the Marine Corps, and I thought, I'm not sure I want to stay Marine forever, maybe not have a career. So at least I want to get that bucket list cleaned out and become a drill instructor. So I went to drill instructor school for all the wrong reasons. Not to train the Marines, not to enhance my career, but simply to check off a bucket list item. Could I make it through drill instructor school and survive the tour as a drill instructor? So I went there like Billy the Kid with both guns blazing, careless with my career, and I paid dearly for that during that time. So
now you went as a sergeant, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
somewhat of a boot sergeant. I got promoted to sergeant at the 4-year mark. Now I got 6 years. I got 2 years under my belt. And
Right.
So I make an application to become a drill instructor, go through the screening, got selected. Then I told my wife about it.
Oh, no. Yeah, that goes over well.
Yes. So I had long hair aviation. At this time, I was no longer parting down the middle. I was combing it over the side, but it was probably pushing 3.5 inches of length, but maybe 4 inches. But we know the Marine Corps regulation is 3 inches maximum.
Yeah.
But you know how us air wingers are. We don't follow the grooming standards. And so I went and got me a flat top.
Oh, dang.
And the wife looked at me like I was a stranger entering her house. And she had this look in her eyes like, what the hell? Because she liked my breaking the regulations long hair that I had.
Right.
I said, babe, I am going to be in drill instructor school class 1-87 here at Paris Island. We only live about 6 miles from Paris Island, Beaufort, South Carolina.
Yeah.
And she was just lost for words because she had dated a San Diego drill instructor before she met me.
Oh, really? Okay.
So she already had in her mind what that is going to be like. And he was never available for dating because we're training.
Right, yeah.
And so I was not going to be available for being a husband. I'm going to be training recruits.
Right.
So, she did not dig the feel of my beautiful flat top. And I had a thick, firm set of hair. In fact, I remember before I was still in aviation over in South Korea, young Air Force sergeant walked out to me and standing out there around a bunch of 50 cubers with some other Marines. We're waiting as we usually do, hurry up and wait. So we're waiting on our aircraft to get there to get on and leave. So she comes out and kind of like the dare she was asked to come out, I imagine, by her peers. And she says, I have a question, Sergeant. I said, how do you get your hair to stand up like that? And so it just came right off the tongue. Didn't think about it. Never been asked that question before. I said, why, this is a sign of male virility. I have terminally erect hair. You can feel it if you want. And I can't remember if she felt it, but she turned. My Marines all fell out of their standing, laughing, bent over, and I'm smiling, owning it. What I just said. I guess today is considered sexual harassment, but it wasn't at that time. But many women, young kids, girls especially, can I touch your hair? Sure, because it was so densely full. And I didn't use any artificial stiffeners because I had terminally erect hair. Not anymore.
That's pretty awesome.
So, so I got the orders. Now it's coming up on show up time. So we check in on a Monday at 0700. And so Sunday, the day prior, I thought, there's drill instructors on my street. I should talk to one of them and ask them about, what should I expect or look for, any tips. So my next door neighbor, his car was never there because he's a working drill instructor.
Yeah.
The one on the corner wasn't because he's a working drill instructor, and so was the other one down the street. But now I live out in town in Mink Point. I didn't live on base. And so across the street and one house over is a Marine that I've never talked to, but I knew he was a drill instructor because I'd seen him wear his campaign cover.
Okay.
So he was outside washing his car. So I start walking on over there. If you remember, I told you that naivety was a gift that I was given.
Yeah.
Aviation, naive. So I get to the halfway point in the street to make it to his driveway. I probably got 20 steps left. And the hand of God came down and he grabbed my shoulder. He turned me around and sent me back to my yard. And so I'm not a religious man, but I follow that spiritual divine intervention. That gut instinct that you should never ignore. So I go to check in the next morning. And Marines are told, how early should they be? Come on, AJ. How early should a Marine be to any appointment?
15 to the 15 of the 15.
Yes. Well, I thought if I'm supposed to be there 15 minutes early, and this is the most professional school in the world, drill instructor school, maybe I should be there 25 minutes early, right?
Yeah.
So it's still kind of dark. It's October 13, as a matter of fact. And as I recall, the date was October 13. Now I want to look that up. And all of a sudden, I hear ballistic screaming and yelling. So I stop my forward movement on patrol as I approach the rear entry to the DI school. And I'm hearing all this ass chewing by two drill instructors on this Marine student who thought he'd show up 26 minutes early, a minute ahead of me.
Right.
And so I thought, well, obviously that's a bad idea. I think I'll just hang out here in the shadows of this big live oak tree and wait until I see a few others get through the door without being tortured.
Right.
So I end up walking in about 10 minutes prior, and I heard everything from, you gotta be fucking kidding me. You're showing up to drill instructor school with a goddamn need for a comb? And or another one, are you at the right school? You're going to drill instructor school. You understand that, mister. I have a fucking mustache on my face. And, so if you showed up with a mustache, you're getting your ass reamed. If you showed up needing a comb, you're getting your ass reamed. How was your experience in San Diego? AJ?
It was similar. Yeah. I think I don't want to say everybody got chewed out walking in, but I'd say it's probably a good portion of us did.
Right. It wasn't everybody. There's 120 students in my class.
Yeah.
So I get on inside and sit down in our chair and keep your damn mouth shut. And it's got like a 1970s school chair with a wood flip-up table on top.
Oh, yeah.
There's nothing comfortable. It's all hard plastic. I've gone to the drill instructor school several times over the years to visit. Now they have these overstuffed chairs, that have a few, about 3 or 4 inches of cushion on the back and lower lumbar support and on their seat, and it just has a different feel than the stark experience that I experienced. And so we're sitting down. Director of the school comes out. He's a major. He gives his speech. Then the the drill instructor school first sergeant comes out and gives his speech.
Yeah.
He said, I will now introduce to you my squad instructors. And the first one he calls out is Gunnery Sergeant Wiggins. He never gave us our first names, their first names, because what's the first name in the Marine Corps? Your freaking rank.
That's right.
Stanley, freaking staff sergeant or gunnery sergeant or whatever. And so Gunnery Sergeant Wiggins, and he marches out. I go, holy shit, that's the guy I was going to go talk to washing his car. Man, I dodged a bullet on that one, I'm thinking. And then on down comes another one. Shit, he lives on my street, a few houses down. And I'm glad I never made it over to his place. And then keep on going down. Then out comes the drill master, Staff Sergeant Brisbane. Most professional Marine image of command presence I have ever seen to this day.
Yeah.
Sergeant Brisbane broke in time. He got out of the Corps, came back, and went on. He was actually a staff sergeant at drill instructor school.
Okay.
He was on his second tour. And so he comes out. He's the guy that lives on the corner that I pass every day going to work and coming home.
Yeah.
Son of a bitch. I got 3 squad instructors on my street. And,
how lucky can you be?
Yes. So I know this much. I knew whether there'd be an inspection that morning because there's 20. That back then, DI school was 8 weeks long. There's 20 inspections. And of those 20 inspections, on the calendar was 12. The other 8 are unknown. Mm-hmm. So you had to be ready for 2 inspections a day. One after PT before the first class, and the next one was after lunch before the first class. So you always try to be perfect. You're out in formation, and either they conduct an inspection or they don't, and you're going inside. But when I'd be driving to school in the morning, if I saw the vehicles there, I go, no inspection today.
Oh, nice.
At least for breakfast. It may be for the afternoon, but not for breakfast. So
You had a little inside scoop on that one. That's good.
I did. So fast forward, it's now Thursday in the Marine Corps. I'm going to ask you the question: what happens around the entire globe of planet Earth on a Thursday in the Marine Corps?
On a Thursday in the Marine Corps, I was going to say Fridays is morning colors, so it's not Fridays. I don't know. What's Thursday?
Oh, I forgot you're in the band. Maybe you guys did it every day. It's field day.
Field day. Yeah. Okay, yeah, you're right. Thursday evenings typically field day. Yeah.
For those who are not Marines, field day is when at the end of your workday, then you get to work ungodly hours until the area of your responsibility passes inspection, which is a pre-inspection, which could be at midnight or 1 a.m., whatever it takes. And then you get inspected in the morning by someone in the chain of command. So my squad, third squad, was assigned outdoor cleanup. I thought, hey, that's pretty good. Only that time of year, we have a lot of sand fleas. And so if you don't know what sand fleas are, it's something that's only an East Coast insect, or known as a predator. It looks like the size of a freckle, but it has teeth like a pterodactyl. And their ability to penetrate the skin and hit the first set of nerve endings is unreal. And
that was a good description.
Yes. In fact, I'll back you up a little bit to 1984 when I showed up from California to start working at Marine Career Station Buford. I check in, and Sergeant Major's looking, I think his name is Pickles. He's looking at my SRB. He sees that I have been issued a set of dress blues. He goes, "Oh, you have a set of dress blues." I says, "I have 2 sets of dress blues. I was the general's driver." He says, "Great. You're doing a funeral this Friday." Okay. I've never done a funeral detail, but now I'm on a funeral decal as a sergeant. So I'm going to learn real quick what the hell I got to do. And so some dumb Marine decided to not pull over, obey the cops. Instead, he thought, I'll outrun them. And so he was driving at a high rate of speed, lost control, impacted, was ejected because he was not wearing a seatbelt, ejected out of his vehicle, hit the cinder blocks that were holding up a trailer, killed him on impact.
Wow.
Yeah. So now we're burying him on Friday.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, I do know military burying. In the Marine Corps, you take the pain, whatever it is. You're not to break your military bearing. So we're in our dress blues. We're holding the casket, and my neck is on fire. I've never felt this sensation since I was in the gas chamber. And I've been in the gas chamber many times, but I know we just didn't get gassed. I don't understand why it's electrified. The pain is on the entire surface of the back of my skull and my neck, and somewhat on my face. And then I'm starting to feel things crawling into my eyelids and my nostrils. So you're trying to snort without bringing attention to yourself while you carry the casket. And then I look at the Marine in front of me. His freckles are all moving. You gotta be shitting me. Those little freckles are causing this kind of pain. And I was so happy when I was at a location where I could then break my military bearing and wipe these miserable insects off. And so those who spend any time on the East Coast, Buford, North Carolina, you know all about sand fleas.
Yeah.
Where you're near the salt marsh is where they're going to show up. Back to field day. So it's probably about 18:30 at night.
Yeah.
School ended about 1700. So I'm kind of tired, man. PT our ass off every day that week, harder than ever for PT, 2.5 hours of PT. And then, of course, all the other things you do in school and the stress of not sleeping, and we'll get into the sleep deprivation coming up. I'm exhausted. So I did what any normal Marine would do. I take a breather. I stopped raking the million leaves that came out of these oak trees. Mm-hmm. And holding the farmer's rake up, in one hand, I put my left hand on my hip. Boom. The window cranks open. I hear the noise, and I look over there. And it's Gunner Sergeant Wiggins, the one that I wanted to talk to that was washing his car, right?
Yeah.
He cranks the window open. "Get over here, Sergeant Crouch." This is great, man. This is going to be fun, right? So I go running over there, and I hope right below his window. He's up there above me because the elevation changed. And I said, yes, Gunner Sergeant, how can I help you? He says, you know why I called you over here? I says, why, yes, I'm your neighbor and I live across the street and you wanted to get to know me. He lost for words for about 3 nanoseconds. But you can see he's trying to process what I just said. I'll say it again. Why, yes, Gunner Sergeant, I'm your neighbor and I live across the street and you wanted to get to know me. He said, no, I have no interest in getting to know you, mister. I want to get to know squad instructors. In fact, you come see me tomorrow after PT, and we're going to talk about getting to know the squad instructors. I'm thinking to myself, son of a bitch. I'm not in the Air Wing anymore, right? And he said, you had your fucking hand on your hip. And I thought, oh, I didn't realize that was a sin, right? Because I've never seen I've got the guidebook Marines, the NCO handbook. I've never read this. It's never been told to me, you can't have your hands on your hips. Well, apparently it's an unwritten rule, but it is spoken when it's found to be in violation thereof. So, following morning, another brutal PT session. It's over with. Now, we lived in a World War II barracks that was wood directly across the street from the schoolhouse. So that's great for time management. But they only give you 30 minutes from the time dismissed to having your ass back in the uniform of the day in formation, ready for inspection. So everything had to already be ready to go. Fly in there, change clothes, and come back. Well, not knowing what he wants to talk about, he said, after PT, so this is after PT. So I went into the schoolhouse, went down the hallway, 3 slaps on the hatch, request permission to enter class drill squad instructor's office to speak with Gunner Sergeant Wiggins as ordered. And he says, enter. So I enter, worn out of breath, dripping with sweat. And I'm halted in front of his desk, 1,000-mile stare. He said, what's the uniform of the day? Right now, I have a challenge here. PT is no longer in session.
Right.
The uniform I was wearing is what I'm wearing. The next session's in 28 minutes, and that's going to be in the Service Charlie Forces.
Mm-hmm.
Gunner Sergeant, there is no uniform of the day for this period of time between PT and the first scheduled event that follows, which is a uniform inspection. And the Service Charlie uniform ribbons, no badges. But the uniform I am wearing is the uniform that was just authorized for our most recent PT session. He says, is PT over? I said, yes, Gunner Sergeant. Get back here in the uniform of the day. I'm wasted now probably 6 minutes of my time. I still have to get out of the building, run across the street, shower, dry off. And you know how it is when you're overheated, right? You keep treating
You just keep going, yeah.
You don't want to get hit for sweat stains. Get all dressed up. Arrive back, not in formation, but at his door.
Right.
3 slaps on the hatch. Sergeant Crouch requests permission to speak to squad instructor Gunner Sergeant Wiggins as ordered. Enter. Now I come in, and his partner in crime, they're 2-man offices. His partner in crime, Gunner Sergeant Marshall, is in there too. Both short Marines, black, about 5'4" each of them.
Okay.
Very intense individuals, both 1 hash mark gunnery sergeants, which means they picked up gunny in under 8 years.
Yeah.
Which is pretty damn impressive. And so he said, begin. So I'm not processing the word begin. Begin what? I said begin, goddammit, now fucking begin. I was really upset, right? I said, Gunner Sergeant, I'll be happy to begin whatever it is you'd like me to begin, but what is it you want me to begin? Push-ups, Marine. Then I replied, Mr. Naivety, oh, I didn't think we had to do punishment PT after boot camp anymore. So I dropped down without being told, and I started pushing, right? And I probably cranked out 3 4-count Marine Corps push-ups, right, which is really 6 push-ups in the normal world.
Uh-huh.
And he says, stop. And I'm thinking to myself, oh, man, this is fucking easy. DI school is going to be a breeze. Push-ups and I'm done. He said, why aren't you counting? So then I resume. The next one, 1, 2, 3, 7. He says, I never heard you say 1 for the first repetition of the first set. 1, 2, 3, 1. 1, 2, 3, 2.
Nice.
So now I get to do extra ones. And so now I'm pushing for probably 30, 40 seconds. I already had PT. Fucking weak and exhausted at this point. I weighed about 140 pounds at that time in life. I was 5'7.5 inches. And until you hit 6 foot, we always talk about the half inch or the 3/4 inch.
Yeah.
We got to get there. It'd be stolen valor to round up, 5 foot. Yeah. So I did not have a lot of muscle on me, but I've been training for DI school for just over a year, thinking I was ready. And I was not ready as I needed to be.
Right.
And, so then he stops me. Again, about 40 seconds, he stops me. And I thought, oh, fucking great. I was just getting tired. I stand up, position attention. He says, shut the hatch. I don't want you distracting anybody.
Oh, no.
So down and I start cranking them out. Oh, by the way, backing up before I started the first push-up, when he said push-ups, I says, push-ups? I didn't think we'd have to do push-ups after boot camp. I looked over at Gunner Sir and Wiggins and says, what in the fuck are you looking at me for? I didn't call you in here. So I looked back at Wiggins and then I dropped down and started doing the push-ups.
Very nice.
But so we went on our first conditioning march. Every week we did a conditioning march.
Uh-huh.
And that's something we don't do in aviation, at least
Right.
not in my experiences. And so we had our backpacks packed the way we were told to, early morning, form up. Don't know how many miles it's going to be. But for someone who's never marched since boot camp, 1 mile seems like 10.
Yeah.
Backpack and whatnot. So a lot of people in there were in the Royal Marine Corps where they did this all the time as a part of life.
Right.
So we're on the march and we're about the marina. So those at Parris Island, when you go from DI school toward officer country and then turn right and head down towards the marina on toward field training unit, that there distance is probably a mile, if that far. All I know is I was creating blisters that weren't there, and my feet are super tender. And I was a person that I couldn't walk on asphalt to go get mail from the mailbox. I looked like a pansy out there tiptoeing because of my super soft feet. And but over the years, that would change. I'd have hardened soles like a caveman. And so I whispered to somebody, says, how far have we gone? He said, we might have eclipsed a mile. I said, how far are we going? He said something like, it's our first march. We're only going 8 miles. And I think, 8 miles? I'm thinking, holy shit. And so I was not a march drop, thank God, because we know how Marines feel about march drops and run drops.
That's right.
They're not worthy of a 5-cent bullet. They should be stabbed, bayoneted, and left to bleed out. And so that was that experience, the time management fatigue. So we get relieved from drill instructor school on a daily basis, somewhere around 1,700, 1,730 on average. Then the rest of the time is yours. But I was a brown bagger, which means I lived locally in town. So they would not allow us to live in the barracks. So we had a rack that was in the recreation room and a wall locker so that we'd have a place to change clothes and whatnot, but we were not allowed to sleep there. And that had changed years later when I came back from my second tour. They had them staying in an actual BOQ, a basic bachelor enlisted quarters, BEQ, into 2-man rooms. And so I had to drive home. So driving was about 13 minutes to 15 minutes to get to home. And I'd get home. And so, the family, they don't want to be part of drill instructor school. I had a young boy and girl. They were about, at that time, about 8 and 9 years old, and a wife who's not happy that I'm a drill instructor student.
Right.
I'm changing our life. It's a different wife. I've got the wife that I should have had a long time ago right now. She should have been a Marine drill instructor, by the way.
I like it.
She put her hands on my throat. Where the fuck are you going? Stay in your lane. I was trying to do things like do the laundry, do dishes, be a helpful husband, but I wasn't permitted to do those things because I don't do it to her standard.
Yeah. Well, I find that that seems to happen pretty regular.
But that was a fight I didn't want, Phil. I thought, you know what? I should take it. I no longer clean toilets. I no longer vacuum the house. I no longer cooking dinner. No longer doing dishes. Woe is me. All you married men out there, just be glad that you're not in my situation.
It's tough.
So, but yeah, I would be up studying at night till, if I was lucky, midnight was when I was hitting the rack. More times than not, it was 12:30 a.m. to 1 a.m. or 0100. And there were many nights where I was up till 2:30 in the morning,
right,
getting prepped every single day, 6 days a week. The seventh day, life was good. And you had a normal life, but you're doing nothing but out in your backyard. Your neighbors think you're weird because you're practicing what's called teach backs, which all drill instructors have experienced. You have to project your voice a minimum of 25 yards at a very loud decibel. So 3 houses down in all directions can hear you. And 25 yards is 75 feet for those who do math. So 75 feet is what I'm projecting my voice to be heard by a platoon of idiot recruits that are imaginary. And so every week we'd have 5 to 7 movements that we'd have to memorize verbatim. Verbatim means you cannot add a word, delete a word, change the sequence of words. You will only speak the words in that movement.
Right.
And those movements can go from about a half a page to 2.5 pages. 2.5 pages is platoon movements, such as diminish the front, column half right, column half left, things of that nature. Column of twos, column of files. But so I use highlighters of different colors as a technique to try and memorize verbatim. So what I'd say in a breath would be yellow, then the next breath would be orange, the next breath would be blue, and that's how I memorize it. And then the second thing you do that worked for me and many others is you say aloud the first sentence or two that you're going to speak. Then you say it a second time and the next sentence. And then you say it again, the first, second sentence, third sentence. And you keep doing that all the way through, and you start to develop a rhythm and a memory. And what I found after the first week when we got tested is that didn't go over well because I barely passed it. And I was trying to memorize all of them to the same level of proficiency.
Right.
And I moved to a different methodology of roll the dice. That's what us air wingers do. Right?
Yeah.
Haired hippie air wingers that don't follow rules and regulations. So I would have, of the 7 in the early phases when you had 7 movements a week, I would have 3 of them down hard, man. No doubt whatsoever. 2, not too bad, but a lot of room for improvement. 1 or 2 more that, God, I hope I don't pull this one. I'm fucked if I do. Now, what people need to understand is at drill instructor school, East Coast, West Coast, it didn't matter. You're allowed 1 failure per event. So if you fail your drill movements that you have to memorize, you will be tested the following day on a different one, not the one you failed. If you fail a written exam of some type, you'll be taking the same exam the following day.
Mm-hmm.
It was a physical event, such as a confidence course, obstacle course, whatever it is, combat conditioning run. You will do that the following day.
Mm-hmm.
2 failures on the same event, you're toast. You get an adverse sign, double sign fitness report. You're going back to your old command, embarrassed that you couldn't pass the school.
Yeah.
So you really had to have a desire to make it through the program. If you don't have a desire, you're not going to absorb information because it's not important.
That's true. Mm-hmm.
And so I passed the first one, but barely. The way that methodology worked is they determine on your squad. Let's say there's 15 Marines in the squad.
Okay.
You might be squad number 13. Me, I was Sergeant Crouch, 3rd squad, student number 13. So whoever number 1 was, when they came up there, there's 7 cards laminated in the hand of the instructor from school.
Right.
Pick one. So you pick one. Boom. Then whoever's next following gets to pick a card. Hit it. And then so while he's doing his movement, that's all the time that you have to look in your book to refresh yourself or to all of a sudden memorize a page of information verbatim.
Right. Yeah. Magically memorize it. Yeah.
So I think I only had maybe 3 bad events where that level of stress was there. I never failed a drill movement, but man, it was stressful. And one of the things I noticed is that for marching, some of the people in my squad were horrible at close order drill. It was something that they never learned well, had no interest in or whatever, but they better have an interest in it now. And I went from trying to graduate number 1 in the school to making sure my team, my squad mates, didn't fail.
Right.
And so time that I could have spent preparing for myself, I was working with them, coaching them on what foot to call movements on, maintaining control, your command voice, to teach them a rhythm, a method and sword manual. I was really good at close order drill. And because, we think, well, wingers don't do that. Well, we do a lot of commanding general's inspections, I can tell you
right.
that.
Yeah.
So I had a lot of practice at that. And so I failed an event at drill instructor school. It was my second TMI, Techniques of Military Instruction. My vague recollection is it's a 10-minute speech. You have to hit the mark at 10 minutes. And you start losing points on either side of that 10 minutes. And you're allowed to exceed by, I think, 2.5 minutes, or maybe it was 3. But definitely 3, you failed. 2.5 may have been that window that you spoke too long or too short.
Mm-hmm.
So I spoke too long. Instructor was pissed. He says, how in the fuck did you fail this? Because he already saw me do the first one, right? Flawlessly, excellent. I'm comfortable speaking. And I said, the only time I practiced was in my head reading so I wouldn't interrupt my family while I tried to practice this. And a lot of time I could have spent studying. I instead spent time working with my squad mates to help them with their close order drill. There's 3 of them that are lost, and I've been trying to help them so they can become successful in this program. So I got tested the following day, kicked ass, got like a 98, but instead I got like a 73 or something.
Right.
Because 80 was the benchmark. You had to hit an 80 for all events or you're gone.
Right.
Or you failed that event and you failed it twice and you're gone. Well, so that's pretty much it on the techniques of military instruction. I noticed a pattern that every day for the first 10 days, we were losing students. And I remember when we had the clipboard, had our name on it, right? Mm-hmm. And you were supposed to initial whether or not you were a volunteer or voluntoed for the orders.
Oh, I see. Okay.
I put it in there, and then I was a volunteer. I asked for it because a lot of Marines are voluntold because during my time that I went there the first time, 87 and 88 with the actual time on the drill field, but October 86 I showed up. There was not a lot of incentive to be a drill instructor.
Right.
A high court-martial rate, a high non-judicial punishment rate. You end up leaving with an adverse fitness report if you make it through the school, but being a drill instructor, just your career ended for the stupidest shit. And things I would learn later on of just how toxic the environment was. The quality of life with your family is horrible. A lot of divorces occur because people don't realize that their spouse is codependent. I didn't know that my first spouse was codependent, but she was. And there is no ability to reach your spouse who's a drill instructor because we didn't have cell phones back then.
Right.
We had a telephone in the office. Most telephones could not receive off-base phone calls coming in.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so the only ones who had a off-base receiving phone was the series gunner sergeant, series commander, company commander, and the company first sergeant. That was it.
Yeah.
Otherwise, your family has to get a hold of someone in your chain of command and talk about there's an emergency you need to call.
Yeah. Holy cow.
Yes.
That's wild.
It is. So, time management is a big problem. I had to be there at 4:30 in the morning for reveille, which is stupid since PT didn't start till 6:30. So I had 2 hours to spend waiting. Maybe it's 6 o'clock PT started at, but I know that it wasn't at 4:31 like I wish it was. So I felt like I showed up for a reason. And just work on your uniforms and practice your shit before it's time to go out to PT. PT was never motivating, never fun. We all had to carry a ID tag that was a safety pin to your right hip on your green silky running shorts.
Mm-hmm.
Did they do that for you guys out there in San Diego?
I don't remember that.
So what it was is a game. Which squad instructor can collect the most ID tags? So
I see.
You're running, right? You're not loud enough. Give me your tag. Open your freaking mouth next time, right? So now now you know why. So you're giving him a tag. So he's got someone, he's a PT after PT. And for me, I'm singing my lungs out, right? I'm not embarrassed singing cadence, even though we don't run PT in aviation.
Yeah.
Count on one hand the number of times I ever PT'd as a unit when I arrived to my first squadrons in the Marine Corps. It just didn't happen. And but I didn't mind singing the songs. I was horrible. I didn't know songs to sing as the cadence caller.
Mm-hmm.
That was tough for me because I'm not left-hand brain, which is the side that's creative, that can sing songs and memorize lyrics. I'm the analytical, the critical thinkers. And so, what cadence songs do I know? Left foot, left foot, left foot. Which is a torture cadence.
Yeah, it is.
So their PT, they're all running backwards, man. The squad instructors, they want to find somebody. Give me your tag. Give me your tag. And all of a sudden, he's telling me to give him his tag because I didn't want to sing. I inhaled a fucking bug. So while my mouth was open, projecting my voice, fucking insect went in there and got lodged in the back of my throat, made me want to gag. And it just sapped all of my moisture in my mouth because that's how it happens. Your saliva, if it has a foreign object in the mouth, it floods that object with saliva to kill it. And I learned that when I was a long distance runner years later, that you pick up a small stone and put it in your mouth and your saliva will start producing to kill the rock. And because it's not smart enough to know that it's not edible, it's not going to hurt you, but it's a foreign object that doesn't belong in the body, so it starts breaking it down, attempting. So now you have moisture in your mouth when you're running.
That's very interesting. I've never heard that. That's pretty cool.
And well, apparently, squad instructor wasn't interested in hearing about that theory of operation. So after PT, when there's no gas left in you, eating away the time that you can spend getting ready in those 30 minutes, you're now running sprints in a game called Buddy Fuckers. The Buddy Fuckers is you're teamed up. So if there's an even number, it's great. If there's an odd number, there's going to be 2 buddies and a third person. So I get the command. One of you going to run down to the end of that obstacle course, touch the pole, come back. Meanwhile, your buddy that you're going to fuck over, he is down doing push-ups or push-ups or bends and thrusts or mountain climbers, right? So go. Now you're down doing push-ups and you're a whole piece of fast marathoner so that you can stop doing push-ups because you have no arm strength left. Unfortunately, that means you got no gas in your legs and lungs, and now you got to sprint your ass off.
Yeah.
It's a buddy fucker. So you're screwed either way. It doesn't matter if you're slow or fast, you're fucking your buddy over.
It is so true. Yeah.
Then they play, after a few rounds of buddy fuckers, then they say, all right, we're going to see who gets to lead now. The first 3 to make it to the finish line go to the barracks, right? Go! Right. Now you're sprinting against your peers. And it's some mad game, kind of like they have during concentration camps in World War II. The other 7 are going to the gas chamber. The 3 of you are going to live. And pretty much what life was like.
Yeah. That is it's a funny how you're putting it, but it's so true, man. That doing those is there's no winner. Nobody's winning. It doesn't matter what you're doing, but nobody's winning. I can tell you that.
However, I have a good memory. So I made sure I carried all those tools with me when I became a drill instructor and later on a OCS drill instructor at Navy OCS.
Yeah.
So they said, if you drop to 79 points on your uniform inspections, you're gone. There is no re-inspection. You failed. So you're starting off with a perfect score, 100 points. If you wear polished brass or spit shine shoes, and they're of the standard expected, you'll get bonus points. However, if they're not to standard, you will lose points. Well, I knew my brass was good because I cheated. I have a benchtop buffing wheel with jeweler's rouge, and I took that buckle and that tip apart, and man, that thing was perfect. Pressed it all back together. My brass was flawless. My shoes, in hindsight, the instructors are right. A lot to be desired. But they did have a gloss to them, but not to the standard that you see from people who really know how to spit shine. Well, I wish there was something called YouTube back in the day, but there was not. So all I could reflect on is what my drill instructor told us.
Yeah. So
3 of the 5 drill instructors in boot camp for me, they all had the footlocker stacked up too high. They each had a shoe of their own, and they said, "All right, eyeballs, snap, sir." We're all looking, watching. This is one of the few times you get to look at us, but don't be looking at us. Watch our hands, watch what we're doing. But this is how you spit shine, and there's more ways to spit shine than there are to masturbate. You find out what worked for you and make it happen. And some people will use a cotton ball with water. Others will use a T-shirt folded in 2. Others will use a hanky from your issue. But you have to figure out the pressure that you use, the amount of moisture you use, and the amount of friction and speed that you use to create a spit shine. So I had at that point about 6 years to work on this. Well, it turns out that I needed another 6 years to work on it because it was not so I go through the first inspection. I get no bonus points. But I'm always losing a couple points.
Right.
Now, in hindsight, what I think was going on is the same thing that you and I did as drill instructors.
Mm-hmm.
You have to write comment cards or evaluations with at least 2 entries in every recruit each cycle of the boot camp phase. First phase, second phase, third phase. And so you never, no matter how outstanding that recruit is, ever make a favorable comment.
Right.
There's always going to be a negative comment of some type so that you can maybe pencil whip it later on if you need to build a case against that recruit who
Yeah.
made an allegation against you, whether it's a true allegation or not. And if it's a false allegation they made against you, but you've been talking about what an outstanding recruit they are, you're screwed. So
Yeah.
I learned that from a drill instructor who says, don't ever, he said, he tore it up, says, I want a new fucking card. I said, you just screwed us all over. I said, how? You wrote whatever. I says, I observed it. You did it. He says, you don't ever make a positive comment on a recruit until third phase. And then and only then if you want them to be promoted meritoriously. And,
Wow. Yeah.
So I'm getting nervous now. Now, we've gone through like 4 or 5 inspections. I've gotten no bonus points. And I'm thinking, and I can do the math and see, I got 20 inspections. 12 of them I know the date on, but 20 inspections I'm getting graded for my uniform. I can't risk this. So I couldn't talk to my squad instructor. His name was Gunner Sergeant King. Gunner Sergeant King had a broken leg or something with his lower extremity, his left leg, before my class had started at DI school. So he couldn't run PT with us. He drove the shuttle. He drove the emergency van. But we all got to meet him one-on-one at the very beginning, all nice and happy. And he says, I reported in, and he stood up to shake my hand, and he says, Gunner Sergeant King. And he put his hand up, so I started to put my hand up to meet him halfway. Then he pulled it back, kind of like that, psych, that we did in high school. He says, tell you what, I'll shake your hand if you make it through this program. All I can think of, you egotistical bitch. I'll make it through this program, you'll shake my hand. And so I had no respect for him from that point. Number 2, I kept watching. At the end of the day, other squad instructors, they are with their Marines, their student Marines, and they are coaching them and telling them advice on how to prepare for the next day. My fucking instructor was somewhere else, swallowing a bunch of ibuprofens and Motrins or whatever, but he wasn't at the schoolhouse giving us guidance. So I went and requested permission to speak to Mr. I want to get to know the squad instructor, Gunner Sergeant Wilson.
Right.
So I requested permission to speak. He says, enter. And then I start to speak. He says, why are you telling me this? You have a squad instructor, Gunner Sergeant King. I says, Gunner Sergeant King has never spoken to his squad. Yet, at the end of the day, I observe all you other instructors speaking to your squad. I have no one to talk to about a great concern that I have. I've always had great pride in wearing polished brass every day that I've served in the Marine Corps. I never wore anodized brass except for the time that I was a general's driver. Then I went back to wearing polished brass. And I never wore quarter frames until I was a general's driver. And then I went back to spit shining shoes. I said, but I don't get bonus points for my brass, which is perfect. And I never get points for my shoes. Now, Wiggins is in the office. Marshall is in the office too, both of them. He looks over at my shoes. He says, you see your brass. I'm in the Charlie uniform, right? So take off my buckle and belt. And he's looking at it and he's inspecting it, flips it over, looks on the backside to see if it's got the stamping and then it's an anodized brass. It doesn't. Yeah. And he says, this is polished brass? I said, it is, Gunner Sergeant. I said, you can keep it. I'll walk without my belt and put another one on that's in my wall locker in the barracks, and you can fingerprint it and see the tarnish tomorrow. He says, I believe you. Put it on. He says, take them shoes off, right? I take the shoes off. He says, give me one. And Gunner Sergeant Marshall says, give me the other one. And I thought, what the fuck are they going to do with my shoes, right? Destroy them? Because you can't put nothing by these guys. The sky's the limit on what they'll do. All right, pay attention. He says, there's more than one way. I thought he was just saying masturbate. He says, there's more than one way to polish your shoe. You got to find out what works for you. And so a lot of people just use too much water and they're too hard and aggressive. And he says, you need to be very gentle. And yeah, awesome. My daughter's not here, so I don't want her to hear. So I'm sitting there in amazement. I thought, wow, that's leadership.
Yeah.
These center sergeants who had shown me nothing but hate since I've been here.
Mm-hmm.
I addressed to them something that's a professional issue, and they're going to demonstrate to me how to do it and be successful.
Mm-hmm.
And damned if I didn't start getting bonus points and they stopped screwing with me, except Staff Sergeant Slumko. And in fact, that was what she's the female instructor at the schoolhouse. So she was the reason that I went. She hit me points for having a dirty cover. Now back then we starched our sateen, our camouflage cover. We starched it. It was a utility uniform inspection. 100% liquid starch I used on the uniform. It's like cardboard standing on its own.
Yeah.
You could cut cold butter at the creases. And she looked at me from head to toe. No points for the brass. Dinged me on my boots that they weren't shined well enough, and said I had a dirty cover. And I said, Staff Sergeant Slumko, that cover has not been worn until 20 minutes before I showed up in formation here. I washed it, put it in the oven, baked it, pressed it out, and what you're seeing inside is probably liquid starch, the way it dries on the inside of the cover before you press it.
Mm-hmm.
She says, don't you ever argue with an instructor. And got me another point for military bearing.
Oh, geez.
So from that point forward, and I showed him my cover too. That's right. So we had a uniform change, and so I didn't have the cover to show him, but I talked to him about the cover from the morning inspection. And I never lost a point from her ever again. I'm sure the squad instructors talked to her because of the 120 students, there was probably only 10 or 15 that were wearing leather and only a couple of us that were in brass. And by this point, everyone had given it up. There's only like one other hardcore that was in there wearing spit shine shoes, and I'm not even sure if he was wearing polished brass. And
right.
So, and they didn't wear core frames. Mm-hmm. They wore polished spit shine shoes, most of them. And so they're probably glad to see someone trying to maintain the old traditions.
Right.
And so I ended up not having to worry from that point forward about failing inspections and started getting bonus points to get back what I lost. And life was good in that regard.
Wow.
So moving on down. So the most professional Marine I ever met, that was the drill master, Staff Sergeant Brisbane. I'm sure your drill master was the same way. You don't know what to expect until the first time they do it. And he marches out there with a rifle, and the execution of the from right shoulder arms to port arms, which is a power movement. If you're a drill, you know that you can create incredible bang when you catch that weapon with your left hand on the handguard, and then go up there and hit the forearm on the handguard at the same time that you strike with the palm of your hand on the flash suppressor.
Yeah.
And then down to the deck. And you can create awesome power movements with that weapon. He comes out there and he executed a drill like I've never seen done before. And then his command presence, his uniform perfect, his voice ballistic. All 120 students heard him crystal clear. And he rattled off verbatim all 7 because he had told us before. He marched out there and he said, open your books to page whatever. I'm going to teach you how you are going to teach us, and recite back the drill manual. He went through all 7 movements verbatim, and we're following with our finger, and we're watching him. And that man, even in hindsight, to memorize 7 drill movements verbatim in sequence without aid of reference.
Yeah.
Perfect every time. I mean, that's something. You have to be motivated by your job and want to be the absolute best. And to me, he's the most indelible example of professionalism I've ever seen.
That's pretty impressive. I mean, I couldn't imagine doing 7 back to back like that and not having time to at least go back and look at it and just refresh your memory. It was a
buddy of mine when I was a first sergeant. He was a first sergeant of what company was he at? Darn if I forgot what damn company he had. But First Sergeant Eric Stockton, Stockton. He ended up going to headquarters of the Marine Corps as a sergeant major of 8th and I.
Okay.
And he had incredible command presence, and he was one of those people that set an indelible image of professional military bearing and the ability to memorize incredible sums of information as though it came from the heart. So I was a young man, 26 years old. I had lust in my heart. So Staff Sergeant Slumko had blue eyes, beautiful blue eyes, and I just looked at her and I enjoyed looking at her. She was an attractive woman to look at.
Yeah.
And so now we're at the end of the program. It's the last movement, it's platoon movements. So we had to demonstrate marching a platoon around the parade deck, and it's your fellow students, right? A couple of squads put together. It was brutally cold. It's December, and probably about December 10, because we're close to graduation on December 18th. Whoever forgets their DI school graduation? You don't. You might forget the birthday of your kids, your wife, your anniversary. You don't forget the day you graduated DI school. It's December 18, 1986. So about 10 days earlier, we're doing platoon movements. The outside wind chill factor is probably 20 degrees. I mean, it's just freaking cold, and it's really windy, and our immune system's compromised because of the lack of sleep that we've had for 2 months.
Right. Yeah.
And so I had a runny nose, and so instead of everybody bringing swords out and marching with their sword on their hip in formation or in their hand, they decided that only one person was going to have a sword out there. It would be me. And so everybody got to use my sword. Well, that sucked because it's like might as well have been covered in CLP, which is a lubricant for the M16 service rifle. Yeah. I don't know who these people are with sweaty, oily hands, but they had ruined my sword at that point. So when I got my turn to do execute the drill, I felt like I was holding on to an icicle the whole damn time. He doesn't want to do what I wanted to do. I get to the very end, return sword, march up in a military-like manner, go to parade rest directly across from her, Staff Sergeant Slumko, while she's scoring up my spreadsheet. She has snot dripping from her nose onto my score sheet. Being young and chivalrous, I reach into my pocket, my left forward pocket, and I pull out neatly folded tissue paper. And I extended my open hand. I said, Staff Sergeant Slumko, I have some freshly folded tissue if you'd like to blow your nose. Didn't even look up at me. Still looking at her clipboard, just with the voice of a devil. No thanks, devil dog. I'll just let it drip. At that very moment, I had been healed by the hand of God. I no longer had lust in my heart for her. I have never heard such a devilish, gravelly voice in my life than when she told me that she was going to let it drip on my station.
I'm just going to let it drip. That's good. Oh my gosh. That's priceless.
If I ever meet her at a DI reunion, I'll tell her the story.
It's all right, devil dog.
In some ways, you look at it, that's motivating. She's hardcore, But when you were looking at her for the wrong reasons, it had a different impact.
Yeah.
So nice. At the halfway point in DI school, it's week 4 of an 8-week program. I reached a point that I actually thought for a moment, is this worth it? Why not just DOR? Go back to aviation. And all I could think about was a couple of things. My father was a Marine, 56 and 58, 1956, 1958. Right. Imagine the shame that he would have that his Marine quit DI school. Or I lied and I said I got kicked out or whatever, makes up some stupid lie like I punched the squad instructor in the face, right? Those young civilians who say, they got kicked out of boot camp and they made they tell their friends they punched the drill sergeant or whatever. Or two. So then the shame of my friends, the people who know me, shame is a very important quality in life. It can propel you to keep pushing on.
Yeah. For sure.
But the number one reason that I would not go the extra mile and quit was because I read an article a year earlier. A second-class petty officer from the Navy earned the opportunity to come down to Parris Island and attend drill instructor school. Now, he had to meet the standard or they would have not graduated him. They were not going to change the standard because he's Navy.
Right.
And he passed. And I'm looking at the photograph of this guy, and he was husky, is how they would describe him in life. And husky. And I thought, there's no way I'm going to let some fat squid pass drill instructor school and me quit. It ain't happening. And so that was the number one prime motivator, not letting some fat petty officer who completed the school have that victory and me not have it.
Mm-hmm.
So I stuck it out, made it through the program. And so on graduation day, I thought to myself, finally, looked up at heaven. I have attended a school in the Marine Corps where I am fully qualified to do everything I'm going to be expected to do on day one. And there's no OJT. I know exactly what I need to do when I show up to work. You're laughing because you know the story. Did you have the same feeling?
I did for a very short amount of time.
Yeah, for about 10 minutes until you're told to do the first thing or whatever. And you go, shit. I remember saying that, fuck. I still don't know what the fuck I need to do in life. And so more OJT, on the job training to figure out how to do things.
That's right.
At that time, I'd been to 2 of my aviation schools. I had 3 aviation MOSs that I never went to school for.
Oh, wow.
At that time, I still had one more aviation job to go to later on in my career without school training. But the F-4 Phantom to work at the organizational level at the squadron as a engine mechanic and fuel systems. And then I went to school for the F-18 Hornet to learn how to disassemble and rebuild the jet engines.
Right. Okay.
But the F-4 Phantom, when I rebuilt that jet engine, I never went to school for that. It was just on the job training. And, general's driver, on the job training.
Yeah.
So now I'm a working drill instructor. And I never realized how important it is that first platoon that you get assigned. What is that team like? And I realized toward the end of my first cycle, which is 3 months for recruit training, 13 weeks actually, and that I was on the golden team, the team, the highest performing drill instructors in the company at that time.
Yeah.
And so I had Sergeant Robinson. I had who was a senior drill instructor who was really never around. I thought, what the fuck is this? I thought the senior drill instructor would be around. He's just like my senior drill instructor, which was never really that engaged with the platoon at San Diego. He Cesar Mogerson. So the other ones on the team was Sergeant Aguilar, who had a screaming decibel that was piercing like a nails on a chalkboard under magnification of 1,000 times. And so I remember being on the opposite side of a recruit. So the recruit's being yelled at in both ears. He didn't probably have any permanent damage from me, but I suffered damage from the sound of Sergeant Aguilar penetrating the soul of that recruit with his high-pitched Hispanic voice that just... I made sure that was the one and only time that I was on the receiving end of him. I always made sure that I moved off at a 90-degree angle and back up a little bit if he ever joined in on an ass chewing. Because I don't ever experience that decibel again. And
that's funny.
the key was Sergeant Michael J. Kennett. And that guy was like a Doberman as far as his facial appearance and everything.
Mm-hmm.
He just had that angry, all business look. And whoever taught him was one intense drill instructor because he carried it down, that tradition. And we worked lights to lights, which is rev to taps, all of first phase. And then halfway into second phase, before I ever got to see what my neighborhood looked like in daylight hours. And but he really maximized my comprehension of how to train recruits. It just really took me what I thought my potential was, and he maximized it. And then my second platoon, in fact, let me back up to give you a level of his intensity. We're at the rifle range, and he goes in the head because we're short a recruit. He kicks open the door to the stall, and he grabs the recruit, and he pulls and says, "I better see some goddamn productivity. You got a freaking heartbeat to get out of here." And so the kid had to figure out how to make it happen or leave without doing it. And when he'd make them spread their lips, upper and lowers, and spread them apart, and to show their gum line, because he's looking for signs of food that you didn't floss.
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah. So he says, "Sergeant Crouch, we are gonna brush our teeth 5 times a day." And he said, "I don't care that they call us the Scooby-Doo platoon, because the TV show Scooby-Doo is showing the teeth." He says, "But I'm not getting sick. I don't want to smell their nasty breath. So in the morning, when you get their ass up at Reveille, they're not to count off. They're not to shout or anything. They're not going to pollute my air with their freaking nasty breath that has been closed for 8 hours. When you get up, you get online, and you train them so that they don't sound off. I get the command, grab your toothbrush, get your toothpaste, get in my head now. Go!" Right, they run in there, they brush your teeth, then they come back out. Now you better be loud. So loud that you're spitting blood and lung tissue all over the place. That's how loud you better be. And then we brush them after breakfast, brush them after lunch, brush them after dinner, brush them for the hygiene inspection at night, 5 times a day.
Wow.
And so most of those people probably lost their teeth because they got rid of their gum line. But we never had to deal with stinky breath in a squad bay. And so I carried those traditions forward and told the logic on the why. And I tell my recruits, and later on I told my officers, I said, "Listen, no one's going to expect you to brush them 5 times a day for the rest of your life. But for the 13 weeks you're here, I don't want to smell your damn breath." End of story. And you will be loud. And when you sound off, I better see blood and lung tissue landing on the ground in front of you or on the neck of that recruit in front of you. And so the second platoon I got sent to was Sergeant Escom. Sergeant Escom was a senior drill instructor, one of the few sergeant seniors, because at that time there was a SOP order that said all senior drill instructors will be staff NCOs unless there is no openings. But if there is an opening and all staff NCOs have a position, now you could be a staff NCO in your first 6 months and not be a senior. But the 6-month mark, you're supposed to be a senior drill instructor. So there are rare opportunities for a sergeant to be a senior. And Sergeant Escom was a senior, and he scared the hell out of me. And I didn't even know the guy. But I watched him from afar for 13 weeks. That's one scary dude. He was Marine Recon, and he was so scary that his platoons were so terrified that they underperformed. I mean, they were just terrified of this guy. His ability to cut through you on an ass chewing was like a chainsaw. And I thought other people were good. He was probably one of the best at ass chewings I'd seen. And so I enjoyed working with him. And 2 weeks later, I'm sitting at home watching TV. And for some reason, I want to think that was during the time that Oliver North was under congressional investigation for the Iran-Contra affair. So I'm on house arrest. I can't leave the house. for allegations against me. And my experience has been the allegations that are brought forward, very rare are they even remotely accurate. They're false allegations. To get out of boot camp, if I push the right buttons, they'll let them go home. If I'm a pain in the ass, they'll send me home. They don't care what happens to the drill instructor. They just want to go home. Rare is the day that it's an authentic thing. Now, I was always worried because Kenneth told me, he says, chances are you're not going to have to worry about allegations. What you have to worry about is allegations that come out that are real allegations when they investigate, because they don't investigate the allegation. They investigate everything under the sun. Since you've been here, have you ever been a victim of verbal abuse? Verbal abuse might be referenced such as, they give these different examples. Well, now the recruits are going to say, start writing, yeah, I hear that all the time. Or
yeah,
I get adjusted all the time, my military position. Starts with a hand slap and then I get adjusted. So I never hit, kick, punch, slap, choked a recruit in my life, but boy, did I want to. And so the allegation I had was that I refused to let this recruit, Volk, V-O-L-K, he had a twin brother. They look like little Martians. Where's their damn antennas? They both had these little Martian-shaped heads, and they were smooth because they got them shaved, right?
Yeah.
And, so I hated this kid with a passion because he allegated on me on something I never did, that I denied him food, did not let him go to the chow hall. 3 days in a row.
What?
Yeah. So I got through that investigation. I'm clean, no counselings, but they're not going to put me back in the same platoon. They put me in a different platoon, same series. So I went from platoon 1050 to from 1049 to 1050 was the platoon that I went to.
Okay.
So Sergeant Dorsey Roberts, he's the senior drill instructor. He says, all right, Sergeant Crouch, you're a good drill instructor. I've watched you for the last 3 months working for Kenneth. Kenneth did a good job teaching you the BDR, basic routine, and how to be an effective drill instructor. I'm going to teach you the art of hazing. Not to do. He's telling me he's going to teach me how to haze recruits.
Yeah.
And boy, did he. He says, doesn't matter what it is, you can make it painful. I can have them hold that pencil between their fingers, and they're going to be crying after a certain amount of time. And you can make them polish the brass in a very awkward position. They're going to be miserable. They're going to be crying. And so he did. He taught me the art of hazing. Unfortunately, I also got very stupid. So we're at the rifle range, and I have a spreadsheet. I got to look at it right now. I always keep it up on my computer for different reasons. And I'm going to see if I can remember his name. Platoon 1050. It begins with a G. Okay. Griffin is his freaking name. Initial G. So I don't know what his first name was. G. Griffin. And I hated this kid. No, he's probably the kid I hated more than anybody else. And in my first tour on the drill field, no, there's one I actually hated worse. He's my last one. But he made the top 10, I can tell you that. And so we're at the rifle range. And I start screaming and yelling. I make some comment about his girlfriend. So when it's all over with, Sergeant Roberts says, Sergeant Crouch, come here. So I go into the SDI office. He shuts the hatch. He says, you hate Griffin, don't you? I said, I absolutely hate that piece of shit. He doesn't belong here. Disloyal recruiter found him and sent him to us. And he says, well, you're graduating him. I said, what do you mean? He says, you just violated the SOP out there. You're going to put myself and other drill instructors at jeopardy for a fucking investigation because of what you just said about his damn girlfriend. Son of a bitch, right? And I knew this kid, if he had the opportunity, he'd shoot me. And so I had to eat that kid, and that hurt. I'd give anything, because back then they had trial training, and you could send a recruit backwards in training if they were on trial training and failed. Trial training means they get extra scrutiny and they get extra comments on their comment card or their evaluation. And if they don't show improvement in that 7 days, boom, they're gone. They go back a month of training. And,
Yeah.
And I seen back then recruits make it 4 or 5 times. My second tour, only one chance to go back and try to train. Then they EAS your ass for failure to adapt. The first time, yeah, we had a kid that looked like Richard Pryor when he would do his on cocaine, high as a kite routine. Yeah. And his name was Medley, Medley. And I swear to God, the guy had no ability to process information at a normal rate that humans process the sound of speech. And so you'd say anything. And what he would do is he learned that he would watch other people move and try and do the same thing. But in close order drill, you're freaking late. Your movement is not on time with everybody else.
Yeah.
Hated him. And his name was Matt. I was so happy to shake hand his ass backwards and train in a month. And so my first night alone as a drill instructor. So that would go back to my first platoon. And what I did was I've been working lights to lights with each of the drill instructors. And when they hit the rack, I'd go sleep at my house at home, have my ass back there at Reveille again, ready to go 15 minutes prior to Reveille in uniform. Mm-hmm. And so now I'm at the rifle range, so about week 5, and I am the duty drill instructor, and I am alone. I feel proud. I'm in charge. I'm a full-fledged drill instructor. I don't need someone holding my hand. And so I took my boots off while the recruits are doing their hygiene inspection crap for an hour, getting the writing letters, reading letters, polished brass, boots and shit. And so I get all ready and done. I go out there. I start conducting my inspection. Captain Nathaniel Harley, he retired a full bird colonel. He's artillery. At that time, he's a captain. You get that sixth sense, like someone's watching you, right?
Yeah.
And I look, and it's Captain Harley, and he puts his finger up, and he curls it to himself to come here. Now I'm thinking, what did I do wrong? I was not doing anything wrong. I was conducting hygiene inspection.
Right.
I walked out there, I opened the door to meet him out there on the steps. He said, I saluted, gave the report. Good evening, Captain Harley. Sergeant Crouch reports platoon 1026, currently engaged in hygiene inspection. Today is training day 25 or whatever it was.
Right.
And count on deck is 74. There are 74 recruits present. He said, is there any particular reason you don't have your boots bloused? I looked down.
Oh, no.
I didn't have my boots bloused. And the reason I didn't have my boots bloused is I got interrupted by some dumbass recruit who came up and requested permission to speak to me while I was spit shining my boots. So while I was I was lacing them up. And at that point, I stopped what I was doing to dress this stupid ass, and my boots were laced. So the trousers just fell down without being bloused. If you don't know what blousing is, it's a rubber band or a spring, metal spring that goes around your ankle at the top of your boot. You roll your uniform trousers underneath it so that bugs and critters can't get up your trouser leg, and you don't look like a freaking hippie. And I looked like a hippie at that moment, so I was so embarrassed and went back to be a functional drill instructor all of a sudden. Really wanted recruits noticed and whatnot. So
that's a good one.
Yeah. So platoon 1075. I'm working with Sergeant Kenneth again. Now it's my third platoon, and I get to work with Kenneth. And now he's a senior drill instructor. He has total control of everything as the senior drill instructor. He told me, Sergeant Eiffel, Raymond Eiffel, Black Marine Infantry, super hardcore warrior. Problem is, I didn't realize that infantry and aviation were polar opposites. I didn't realize that we look at the world differently. An infantryman looks at the glass is fucking empty. Not half empty, it's fucking empty. And aviation people, we got a pretty good life. And that glass is half full, working on a full glass. And so him and I were oil and vinegar. We did not mix. And we went to DI school together. Now, the problem with that is the fact that I got in trouble on my second platoon, which I forgot to tell you about, but I will. And so because I got in trouble and I was too stressful as a drill instructor, playing the role of stress monster or third hat,
Yeah.
the third drill instructor in the chain, they didn't feel I was mature enough to handle the responsibility of being a more important influential trainer, such as the heavy or the senior green belt that would be assisting the senior. And it should have been my time to shine, and it wasn't. And I had to work under Sergeant Eiffel, someone who was in my DI school class with me. So you can imagine the frustration that brought. Kenneth said, we're going to work lights to lights until final drill. Final drill is training day 54. That's a long way away.
Yeah.
And you don't count weekends and holidays. You count 5 days a week. You don't count forming, which is right after they get dropped out of receiving. So receiving doesn't count. That's anywhere from 3 days to 10 days. And then you get the turds on forming day 1, which would be anywhere from forming day 2 or 3 to as many as 6 or 7, depends on where you are picking up. And then everybody starts training day on the same day moving forward. So that's a long time to go reveille to taps. And it's a hard thing to do to the human body. And this is, but we're going to take every damn trophy and we are going to maximize every minute. So we're not going to work lights to lights for the sake of working lights to lights. You're going to work your fucking ass off. No matter what it is, it's going to be maximum effort. Not the recruit's maximum effort, your maximum effort. And I had confidence in them, and we did. We won every damn trophy but one. And the one we didn't get, I believe, was a pugil stick trophy, maybe a third phase pugil sticks. And but yeah, the problem is fatigue. I got to the point that let me take a drink. The travel time to my house was 13 minutes on average.
Mm-hmm.
At the 3 mile mark, I just exited the base.
Mm-hmm.
And I had 3 miles to my house. I was too dangerous to drive because fatigue is no different than drunk driving.
Yeah, absolutely.
I would pull over into a place called Shell Point, which is just outside the gate, about a half a mile. I would park my car there and I'd go to sleep until I would wake up, half an hour, 40 minutes later, and then finish my drive home to go into the house to shower, maybe have some food and 2,200, whatever, and then have my ass back up at probably 4 o'clock in the morning to have my ass there prepped and ready to go.
Mm-hmm.
And, on our last drill session before final drill, I was woozy. And I dropped down to about 135 pounds, 136 pounds. And, that's Barney Fife from Mayberry RFD fighting weight,
Yeah.
Don Knotts. And so I had to grab the stanchion, which is a concrete column in the squad bay, to hold on to it because the world was spinning on me.
Mm-hmm.
And I wasn't making corrections. It's probably the most positive drill session we ever had because me and Eiffel were not yelling and barking like usual. And they got to simply execute the drill without us being assholes. And so I whispered to Eiffel, I said, I can barely hold myself up. I'm dizzy. I want to collapse. He says, me too. And so I thought it was just me, but we both felt that way. And we did. We went out there and kicked ass, took the final drill trophy, which is awesome. And but then life gets interesting. Imagine on the quarterdeck outside the senior drill instructor office is that trophy table. All your trophies go there. The motivation table, they call it.
Yeah.
And some platoons don't have anything. Maybe a NCO handbook. Take a look at this, or a guidebook for Marines.
Yeah.
So we had all these trophies. Well, I had the duty that Sunday morning. And after final drill, and final drill was on a Friday, as I recall. So Saturday, they got to have their day in the sun of wonderful life. And then Sunday was late arrival for the drill instructors. Only one drill instructor could be there until the 30 minutes before the morning chow. Before the noon chow. So typically that was around 10:30 in the morning. So we came back from chow, and they didn't march like a final drill platoon. They marched like turds. Happy, cocky, right? I said, good. Y'all want to act like recruits in first phase? I'm going to treat you like recruits in first phase. Get your ass in the squad bay now. The games are going to begin. Of course, you've heard the term. We got more games than Milton Bradley, which is a manufacturer of Monopoly and many other board games, right? And so I got inside and I took all these fucking trophies. Says, you think these trophies mean shit to me? They don't. Those are your trophies, not mine. I may be the drill instructor that helped you reach these the winning circle. But as far as I'm concerned, you don't deserve them. And I took a trash can, 40-gallon trash can, galvanized, that had trash in it. I turned it upside down, put it right on top of the pile of trophies, right? So they felt violated.
Yeah.
Fucking deal. And I started playing all kinds of fuck games with them inside the squad bay, things that cause fatigue and stress, rack making drills, I'll get a command, get back there, strip your rack, bring everything back to my line. I want one sheet on each shoulder. I want a blanket in your hand. I want a fart sack in the other hand and a pillowcase on top of your head. Get it now, right? So they got all the components of making a rack. And then I'd make them make the rack in reverse order. I said, I get the command, go back there and make your rack, but only your blanket will be on that rack. Everything else will be in your hands. And so I have them make the rack that way. We do that a few times until they did it fast enough and perfect enough. Then I'd have them make the blanket and the top sheet. And then the blanket, top sheet, bottom sheet. Then blanket, top sheet, bottom sheet, fart sack, which is a mattress cover. And then finally, when they can do that right enough times, to my standard, quality standard, to the time standard, they are heating. They are burned. They wish they could hydrate. There's nothing left because I have them say, aye, sir, all the time for anything and everything.
Right.
And so I says, now you think we can make our racks the way they're supposed to be made? Yes, sir. Blood, lung tissue flying out of their mouth. You're on the clock. Go! All right. So they know exactly how long they have. And they got it done, hopefully. And then, of course, move the racks from one side of the squad bay to the other, scrub the deck, move it to the other side, scrub the deck, put them back where they belong. They're not perfect. Start it again. So without even taking them to the pit, you can wear them out. And of course, as a green belt drill instructor, you don't have the authority to round robin the platoon, which is get everybody 10 at a time. You cannot exceed 10 at a time, and you cannot PT everybody, just one group after another. And they have to have an hour break between PT sessions of punishment pieces to the next. But there's a lot of other ways to make them hurt.
Yeah, there is.
And so that's what I did. And so about 10:30, in comes Sergeant Eiffel. So at this time, I got the recruits on their footlocker, scrubbing their rifles by the numbers with CLP and a bristle brush. And the rear hatch opens, they turn and look, and then it's this huge sigh of relief.
Yeah.
It was so obvious that something was happening here. So Sergeant Eiffel looked at me with this concerned look. He could see how sweaty they are, the profuse sweating on their heads, their clothes, their rifles, the relief in their eyes like we've been saved from this monster. And he walks up there and he sees the quarterdeck, a trash zone. Trash is strewn everywhere. He looks over at the trophies, doesn't see them in front of the window of the drill instructor's office. He goes, where's my fucking trophies? I says, they're not your trophies. It's their trophies. And them turds don't want to fucking march like a final drill platoon. I put their trophies under the fucking trash can where they belong. He went ballistic on me. All of a sudden, he's a recruit lover, right? He's defending the recruits. And so we carry this conversation into the office. I slammed the fucking hatch on metal doors, concrete building, concrete walls. You can hear everything that's going on. And I remember that I opened the hatch again and says, I don't see fucking vigorous scrubbing. I slammed the hatch again and we had our blow up. I said, the problem is you put too much emphasis on those trophies representing you.
Yeah.
They represent the recruits, not you. You got them to the finish line, but that's their pride and glory. And you have to have the ability to punish them. And that means you take those trophies away from them if necessary. He says, wait till the senior drill instructor hears about this. I said, I hope he does. Senior drill instructor comes in a couple minutes later. He goes, where the fuck are my trophies? He says, Sergeant Krause decided they were worthless and threw them in the trash can and put trash in the trash can on top of it. He looks at me. He's fucking livid as hell that I had done this to his trophies that the two of them now own as much as the recruits. And for me, my heart was where it belonged. They were undisciplined. They needed to have something hurt their feelings, and I was just the magic potion for them.
Yeah. You were the man for the job.
So, back up. Why did I have to work as a third hat for a third cycle? Well, we're at the rifle range on my second platoon. And so for those who are listening, it's week 5 or 6. 5 is grass week where you don't have live ammo. Week 6 is live ammo, firing every day. And we had a recruit in week 5 of grass week where you learn the fundamentals and practice pretend shooting without ammunition. Attempt to have a gesture of suicide. So after tabs, he went to the head. He had stomped on a track 2 razor blade, took out that little flimsy blade, and then went across his, not the arteries, those go vertical, the length of your arm. He went across the tendons to create some scratching. I had more abrasion climbing oak trees than I saw on his thing. But he stayed there with the door open while he did that. So the fire watch on the head comes in and sees him, trying to cut himself, and then ran and got me, the on-call duty drill instructor who's in the office sleeping.
Yeah.
So for those who don't know, there's 4 platoons in a series, and there's one senior drill instructor that's on duty from those 4 platoons. The other 3 platoons has a green belt drill instructor standing the watch for their platoon, sleeping, spending the night in squad bay. 3 bangs on the hatch, comes in there. I open the hatch. I go, what? He says, sir, recruit, let's pick some screwed up name like Cox. Sir, recruit Cox had to kill himself with a track 2 razor blade, sir. All right, so he's got Cox with him there. I says, let me see your arms. All right, I look at it. They don't even require Band-Aids. If I were to put mercurochrome, a torture solution from the 70s on his arms, it would not have hurt.
Oh, jeez.
All right, but he went through and did the gestures, trying to get kicked out. So I instantly got had the guide and another recruit get out of the rack. Since I had a fire watch, one in the squad bay, one in the head, doing their job, I wanted 2 more people keeping a hold on this recruit so he doesn't go UA or do anything stupid. I got a hold of the senior drill instructor on duty, told him what happened. I said, listen, you and I both know, ain't nobody calling in a calling in a psychologist at 2 o'clock in the morning. It's something like 2 o'clock in the morning. And so my intent is to give him a different rack that's an empty one, have it brought to the quarterdeck, turn the lights on the quarterdeck so it illuminates the rack, and give him a different set of linen and a different set of skivvies. We've seen him naked. There's nothing that he could be hiding. And then establish a secondary security watch, 2 recruits, 1 on each side of the rack. And that's where they stand the entire time that he's trying to sleep until reveille comes. And then we'll take him to the hospital for psychological evaluation. He said, that's a great plan, Sergeant Crouch. I said, all right. So I executed it. I also submitted the SIR, which is required serious incident report. You have 15 minutes to have that filed. And so I filed that and then filed a follow-up. And then everyone starts asking me questions, in the morning, the chain of command, they're all bent out of shape, and send his ass off to the psych unit. Well, it's now about 1500 in the afternoon, 3 o'clock for you civilians. And I'm told by the senior drill instructor, says, hey, serious gunner sergeant wants to talk to you. And that's never good. I've never known a serious gunner sergeant who's in charge of 4 platoons to ever want to share anything good with you. All they're doing is giving you a task, or they're telling you what you screwed up and what you're going to have to do as punishment. So I reported into him. He says, sit down. And so I sit in the chair across from his desk. He said, he turned this paper around, pushed it with an ink stick. He says, sign it. I said, what is it? I said, sign it. So I grab it, I look at it and read it. It's a counseling, a written counseling I'm receiving because I'm not a qualified medical professional to have made a decision about his mental health, and that I should have called an ambulance and had him rushed to the hospital so he can be seen by a psychiatrist at his moment of fragility. I said, Gunner Sergeant, I talked to the senior drill instructor on duty. Let's say his name was Staff Sergeant Cox. And
this Cox character.
Told him what my plan is for recruit Cox. And he thought it was a great plan. If he's the senior drill instructor on duty, doesn't the buck stop with him? That he exercised poor judgment, allowing me, a lesser experienced drill instructor, to make that decision, but instead he executed it? I said, and on top of that, you and I both know they're not going to call a psychiatrist at 2 o'clock in the morning, come talk to a recruit who tried to scratch his wrists to find out his psychological health at that very moment. He's going to be seen after 7 a.m. when he rolls in to do his freaking job. He says, sign the fucking paper. You violated the SOP. You should have taken him there. He would show me in the SOP where I was required to call a damn ambulance, right? This will come back to haunt him. Because of that, I did not become a heavy in my 3rd platoon.
Oh, geez.
Yeah, I had to be a green belt 3rd hat stress monster for a 3rd cycle. And I told him when he told me why I'm not going to be a heavy on my 3rd platoon at Outpost when we graduated that platoon. He says, because you haven't learned how to mature. I said, I played the role given to me. And the role is to enforce all standards, to enforce all discipline, to look for the slightest mistake and make a mountain out of it and correct it. And I did that effectively. I said, if I'm in the role of a senior drill instructor or a heavy, I will play that role. And so, end of story.
Wow.
Stuck with the freaking job of 3rd hat. So now I'm in my 3rd platoon. At the rifle range again. It's firing week.
Mm-hmm.
And my platoon, I'm marching them, route step march as soon as we cross the road from the barracks, because we're now on the grass going all the way down. We're going to walk probably 600 yards to the 200-yard firing line, and before the sun comes up. And his name, because I wrote a great story about him that I put on my Facebook years ago. So Platoon 75, he was a hillbilly. Oh, that's right. He didn't get Stone, Recruit Stone. I have to tell you about Recruit Stone after this. So I have to tell the Recruit Stone story first before you get to where he's at now. So Recruit Stone, I think, was from West Virginia. Nothing against West Virginia, but that's just my vague recollection, because you always see that kind of demographics on rosters and whatnot. Mm-hmm. And he looked like the caricature of a hillbilly with a corncob pipe. Like they spend their whole life on donkeys bareback, right?
Right.
With bare feet. And that was the persona that he had about himself.
Uh-huh.
We are in the first week of recruit training, probably on a Friday. Oh no, it had been on a weekday, like a Thursday. And so it had to be in the 2nd week. Yeah, the 2nd week, early in the 2nd week. I had it. I had to get rid of them. You can't discharge recruits because you just don't like them. They got to fail. And so he came out ahead with his shower shoes, towel around his waist, and his shaving kit in his arm like he's supposed to. And I'm seeing him, and I'm standing on the quarterdeck, and I see him. I said, stop! I want you to turn and face the mirror. Put everything down except for your towel around your waist. So he's standing there looking at himself in the mirror. And I called another recruit to come up here, one who's well built and whatnot. They had a good military bearing. Stand next to him. He's in his t-shirt and gym shorts, green silkies, right? So he's looking at him at the mirror side by side. Stone assumed the same body posture as recruit Johnson has. And so he's attempting to, but he can't. His body's not capable of holding those positions. So I came up there and I'm trying to straighten his arm and get the elbows in and get the fingers curled correctly and on the seam of the trouser, and stomach in, chest lifted, chin high. And as soon as I let go of a body part, it collapses. Right, knees included. He's always bow-legged. And I said, how'd you end up this fucked up? I said, look at yourself. You look like a caricature of a freaking hillbilly that they have from West Virginia. I said, Jesus Christ. I says, and they want you to have a Marine uniform? Your recruiter's not loyal to the Corps. I can tell you that. I'll tell you something else. I bet you have some type of a spinal skeletal problem. We're going to find out tomorrow. I'm taking your ass to medical. And so next day I took his ass to medical, checked him in. What's the recruit's problem? I says, I'll speak. I said, he might have skeletal problems, which will affect his military service. So you go in there, they take a couple of x-rays and look at the x-rays. And I'm sitting there with him when the doctor's talking. He says, Sergeant Crouch, the only thing wrong with Recruit Stone is a lifetime of poor posture. And now I'm defeated, right? And he says, but I have these stretching exercises that he can do on his time to help his body assume the military bearing that we try to create.
Right.
I said, exercises, huh? What about rifle PT? Oh, that'd be good. That's okay. Yes, rifle PT. I said, I need that put in the chit, the medical chit, that he needs to do rifle PT on his free time. And really? I said, yes, I'll get in trouble. They'll think I'm punishing him, but I'm trying to help him. So I was trying to help him all the time. But when I was at Parris Island, it was rare to see a drill instructor use rifle PT as a form of punishment for IPT, incentive physical training. How about San Diego?
No, it would happen pretty regular in San Diego. I would do it pretty regular.
I wish I was in San Diego. I should have gone there. But
it was fun. Well, for me, it was fun.
But for me,
not for the recruits.
Drill instructors were afraid they would do it wrong and then get tortured by the inspector general. There
were a lot of rules on it. Like you had to do it a specific way, and they had to do each exercise a specific way. And if they were not doing that, and you weren't making sure, then it was your butt if somebody walked up on it.
So I became a master of knowing all the rules. I rifle PT'd his ass all the time, and so I started to build respect for this kid. He never shed a tear. He never boo-hooed. He took the punishment I was giving him like a man. I gained great respect for him. And he was actually starting to stand a bit taller and prouder, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now we're fast forward. It's week 6. We're marching across about 5 o'clock in the morning, and with our backpacks and rifles to go do another day of shooting. And they're at route step. Squad leader comes running back. Sergeant Crouch, recruit, whoever, respect me, she's thinking, what's up? And he said, sir, Recruit Stone is bent over and crying. He can't stand. And he's trying to move forward, bent over. So I'm thinking he's got a ruptured appendix.
Mm-hmm.
Sounds logical.
Yeah.
Especially for somebody that I've never seen cry. And I get up there with my flashlight, proper name is a moonbeam, and I shine that in his face, and I see tears. And I thought, this kid's in serious physical pain. And I said, speak at ease. What's going on? I said, sir, this recruit has been in excruciating pain since about midnight. He says, why didn't you get a hold of me? I was on duty last night. And I said, sir, this recruit didn't want to get sent to medical and miss a day of shooting. And so I instantly thought that we have an acute appendicitis. I know what happens if I don't call an ambulance, right?
Yeah. That's right.
I got no drill instructor with me. I'm by myself. So I leave the guide. I says, guide, march them to the, leave them here and watch for an ambulance. I'm going to go call an ambulance. So I ran back across the street, go inside, call an ambulance, tell them which to go to Charlie line. for the rifle range. And there's a platoon right there at the road edge, and the platoon number flag is a yellow flag, and it's 1075. And so I then follow up with an SIR, Serious Incident Report. I report that up the chain of command. A possible acute appendicitis, ambulance called, rushing out to go meet up with them. I meet up with them, get him in the ambulance, he's on his way. I don't think about him anymore. I got a job to do. I got recruits to train. So I'm now down to butts, supervising, pulling targets.
Right.
And I get the line check calls me. So I go to the telephone. He said, Sergeant Crouch, what's the status of Recruit Stone? I go, I have no clue. Down here in the butts, supervising target pulling. Well, go find out. Right? It was the series gunner sergeant. Right? So now I got to go out, get my ass several hundred yards, probably 800 yards to my damn vehicle, drive out to medical, because back then you didn't have phone numbers to call people, and go to medical, find Recruit Stone. So I'm walking around, I can't find him. I says, hey, Corbin, I'm looking for Recruit Stone that was sent here for abdominal pain. Oh, yeah, he's my patient. Yeah, he'll probably be out of here in 15 minutes. I said, 15 minutes? What's wrong? He said, oh, he just had gas. That's all. And all I could think about, he had a fart. All he had was gas in his intestinal colon there. And that's why he's doubled over in excruciating pain with tears coming down his face. A recruit that I have tortured for 6 weeks to no end, has never cried or shown emotion, but stoicness. And you're telling me that all he needed to do was fart? And he says, yeah, we gave him a good concoction. He'll be farting a lot today. And he's feeling a lot better. And now all I can see is the embarrassment and the harassment that I'm going to get, that I'm a recruit lover, and I recruit that had gas, and I called an ambulance so he could go to the hospital and get special medicine to fart. And so I go back. I have to wait and take him back, by the way, right? So I told Stone, I said, I'm going to kill you. I don't know what the fuck you ate, but I'm going to kill you. I don't want to hear excuses. I'm going to kill you. So we get there, and I go up and I report to the series gunner sergeant and the series commander, the senior drill instructor, all three of them, company commander, he's out there too. Everybody wants to know what's wrong with Recruit Stone. Recruit Stone had gas. Apparently, gas was so bad in his colon that it put him into excruciating pain, and he couldn't stand vertical and erect. And that's why he had tears shit. You called an ambulance and put in an SIR for a recruit that had to fart. Right? So now I'm thinking of what's going to happen to their company and battalion reputation going all the way up the regiment into the depot general. So,
oh my God.
Now it's about 15:30. That's a good time to go have a visit with the series gunnery sergeants, right? We're back in the barracks, getting the rifles ready to be cleaned. Phone call comes, go see gunnery sergeant. I remember he was a little short guy. I didn't like him, but I won't use the name. I can't remember for sure if that name is associated with him. And but he called me in the office. He turned around, he handed me a second one. This one's a 6105. That's the one that gets sent to Headquarters Marine Corps to be put in your military record. So if you happen to know somebody that's one, they're not going to pull the counseling. It's at the Headquarters Marine Corps record, which will affect your future promotions when you become
absolutely.
And I'm looking at it, and I said, Gunner Sergeant, this can't be, because you gave me a written counseling, even though I pushed back with logic, explaining why I should not receive a written counseling. You said verbatim, you are not a medical professional, end quote. So if I'm not a medical professional and the symptoms that are being exhibited and demonstrated are that of acute appendicitis, and I'm positive that if you were to find a medical book, because we didn't have access to the internet back then, and looked up acute appendicitis, I'm pretty sure you're going to see the same exact symptoms. I said, so am I a medical professional or not? Because one of these counselings needs to go away. He looked at me. He realized his screw up. He took it. He just started popping veins and changing colors and spittle flying out. Like, get out of my fucking office! And he wadded it all up, threw it in the fucking trash can, and turned around so he wouldn't face me as I marched out. And victory, all if ever. But there's other reasons he didn't really like me. I remember we were on the first floor in third phase, and he was always robbing from me my wall locker, because we don't lock our lockers.
Yeah.
Anybody can go into our wall locker. It's the drill instructor's office. Ain't nobody coming in there except the serious guns when he wants something, right?
Yeah.
He's always borrowing my shit. And then I have to go find him and ask for it back because he won't bring it back. Maybe I want to use my flat black paint to hit my chip chevron or emblem so it looks perfect. And it's not there. I'm so fucking pissed. So I'm going to teach him a fucking lesson. So what I did is I went and bought a matching can of gloss white. And then what I did is I changed the caps. And then so the gloss white had a black cap, and the other can was kept in a drawer out of sight. So he came, next time he came and took my paint. He's out there, and I just walked in. I told the drill instructors what I had done, and it took me a few days for something like this to finally happen. And he went and grabbed it, and they said, he just took it. I says, oh. And I'm waiting for it to hear it. And then all of a sudden you could hear him screaming and at the top of the phone, goddamn motherfucker, son of a bitch, I'm gonna fucking torture him. I leave. I get the fuck out of Dodge. He needs to cool off before he sees me. And then he does find me eventually, right? He starts wringing my ass. I said, let me get this straight. You go into my locker without my permission. You take my paint without my permission. And you're mad because you didn't read the label that says gloss white. It had a black cap on it. I says, it's my paint. And the black cap was busted. And I wanted to have a cap on it. So I used a white cap. And so he never borrowed from me again, but he had several emblems and chevrons stuck into a cardboard to hit them all. And by the time he realized it, he hit them all with white paint. And now he's fucked. So yeah, he didn't have any love for me. So at the end of that cycle, actually, we're about I don't know, 3 weeks from graduation. We're at basic warrior training. BWT is what they used to call it. 10 days to learn how to be infantry before you graduate. And it's after the rifle range and after mess and maintenance, which is a detail that would be done for 1 week. You're either in the mess hall doing mess hall duty, or you are on base cleanup. I didn't tell you about my own experience as a recruit in the chow hall on mess duty, did I?
I don't think so.
I will tell you that one in a moment to show you what a screw up I was. So, shit. I should say that for next week because we're about done here. So, the platoon hears that I'm being sent to recruit receiving on quota in 3 weeks. Well, all of a sudden they think they can not respect me anymore because somehow I'm going to have a new job at the end of their recruit training. So I started torching the hell out of them, right? They thinking all that. And of course, I asked the question to Captain Harley, why am I going to recruit receiving? I love being a drill instructor. This is where I need to be. I volunteered to come train recruits. He says, we need drill instructors on quota too at the swimming pool. And I thought to myself, well, I dodged that bullet because I intentionally did poor at swimming, right?
Yeah.
Tell him that though. And I never wanted to be an academics instructor teaching history. And if I was to go anywhere, I wanted to be on hand-to-hand combat. And he says, you're not going to hand-to-hand combat. You are going to go on recruits receiving because you have more patience than other drill instructors. I said, all the verbal counselings I've received, I've got more patience. I'm more step from a court martial any given day, and I've got more patience. It's a way of torturing me. But to end it, the 2-minute story, and then we'll call it a quit today.
Yeah.
My drill instructors didn't like me. Remember, I told you that I had sock lint under my toenails, and all of a sudden I was a pig, right? And they go, soo. So me and a few other recruits had to oink, oink, oink on our way to the quarterdeck to then get PP because we had I just failed to clean under the toenails the sock lint that was green. So now I'm on mess duty. our platoon is. We just finished the rifle range. We've been assigned to Weapons Battalion Chow Hall at Camp Pendleton. And so I have 2 easy days, right? I'm back there making salads and shit. It's air conditioning. It's nice. That's right. Day 1 was linebacker, just keeping food on the line. Day 2 was, making salads and stuff. I'm just loving my job. It's better than some of those other shitty ones. And in comes Staff Sergeant Jennings or Corporal Campbell. I don't remember which one, but they both hated me equally. And what the fuck are you doing back here? Making salads, sir. The hell you are. Put that shit down. Come with me. And he took my ass back there. He found the chief and the Chow Hall chef. He said, sir, this turd will not be inside the building. The only thing this turd's going to do is be GI can recruits, right? The worst job there is.
Yeah.
And so I had no idea what a GI can recruit was. I was about to find out. He took me to the back loading dock of the Chow Hall. And here are these 2 godforsaken recruits. One of them just got relieved. He says, you, clean up, go inside and make salads. You, turd, are going to take his fucking job. And I'm looking at it looked like they got hit in a food fight, right? That's what it looks like. So they have what's called a pot shack. So when you return your food to the scullery, it goes through a line, automated line, and then they scrape the food off into these 50-gallon barrels of food containment of leftovers. And you get them about 80% full, and then they weigh a ton, and 2 of you try to muscle this thing about 50 yards, it seems like, but you got to muscle it all through there to get it into this cooler. Now, I've never been to the cooler before, so this is my first time carrying this, and it's slopping out, as we walk. Yeah. We haven't mastered how to walk together, carrying a overloaded trash can of food. And the door opens. I take 2 steps in there, and I vomit profusely. The odor was overwhelming.
Oh, no.
There must have been 100 cans of food that has been spoiling for a couple of days. A hog farmer comes with his special truck, and then we dump it into his truck, and then we end up with empty cans every day. And he takes that slop food and gives it to his hogs.
Yeah.
But each time that door, then I had to go clean up my puke, and then I puke again. And so I keep puking until there's nothing left to puke but dry heave. And that was a long, miserable remaining 5 days of my life on mess duty. But the drill instructor got what he wanted. I was miserable. And, that's all we have to say today, because Recruit Cox, Senior Drill Instructor Cox, he's got to take care of some other issues in life.
Something to do with those Coxes. I don't know. But man, thanks for coming on and doing this. This has been absolutely a blast. I love listening to your stories. So thanks for doing it. We'll see you, I guess, on the next one, which will be part 4, I think. Correct? Yeah,
we'll probably end up with parts 5 and 6 because of the number of stories. Chigger Red on the nutsack, giving a class on suicide, all kinds of stuff. Getting an officer to haze without him knowing it. Captain Harley, angry as hell because I got the recruits half-stepping, looking up at God during a rainstorm, trying to drown the platoon. But we'll talk about these next week.
Oh, my God. Yeah, I can't wait. Well, John, thanks again for doing this. I'm loving your story. You're a great dude. So I appreciate it. But to all the listeners out there, if you're struggling, you need help, anything like that, don't forget the VA does have some good resources. You can dial 988 press option 1. You can always text 838-255 or go to veteranscrisisline.net. Click on that chat icon. Any of those options will put you in contact with somebody that can help you out. But remember, one veteran life lost is one too many. I care about you. John cares about you. The whole veteran community cares about you. So please reach out for help. And if you're out there, you're not struggling, reach out to the buddies you served with. Ask them how they're doing. If they need that helping hand, please give it to them. All right, one last time, thank you very much to all the listeners out there. Stay motivated. Change your socks.
Hoorah! Yep!
No more 22. On to the journey and finish the fight.